Quick knockouts, flashy showboating, and wild antics are all exciting, but have you ever seen someone treat their opponent like yesterday's trash? That's exactly what Khamzat Chimaev did to Li Jingliang at UFC 267. Coming off a long battle with COVID, there were doubts about whether Chimaev's return would be anything but a shadow of his former self, especially against a wrestler like the Leech. But as soon as the fight began, Chimaev showed up with his old swagger, body locking and hoisting him up in the air like it was bring your doll to school day, and started talking to Dana White midair, like, "Hey Uncle Dana, are you and Joe Rogan twins?" When Chimaev finally decided to drop his opponent, it was with the grace of a heavy-duty dumpster slam, followed by a choke that had Chimaev's haters covering their eyes in horror. So what did Khamzat really say to Dana?
Yeah, he was yelling crazy shit at me the whole fight. I don't know why, but basically just saying, you know, I'm going to fight everybody. I'll fight Brock Lesnar. I don't care who it is. You know, he's just yelling stuff like that.
Poor Jingliang. Well, let's just hope he never walks into IKEA and has flashbacks of Khamzat carrying him like furniture. Ben Askren came into the UFC with an undefeated record, a solid wrestling game, and a haircut straight out of an 80s high school yearbook. But his fight with Masvidal lasted shorter than a TikTok dance. In the build-up of their welterweight bout, Askren had a lot to say, like how he'd dominate Masvidal. The funky one even claimed that Masvidal, a street fighter who had fought the who's who of MMA, was scared to face him.
I think the real reason is he knows I'm a freaking terrible matchup for him, and he doesn't want any part of that.
His muscles aren't very big and his beard's pretty ugly. But besides that, I think it's going to be total domination.
Askren's words come back to haunt him in a big way at UFC 239. As the fight starts, Masvidal takes off like Usain Bolt and launches his knee straight into Askren's face.
One of the greatest knockouts you'll ever see!
Oh my goodness!
That was it. A knee and some gravity turned Ben Askren's undefeated streak into a distant memory. Askren was out cold before he even hit the ground. A few extra punches followed for good measure because, you know, Jorge likes to make sure his opponents get the message. The ref jumps in, but by then Askren's consciousness had packed its bags. Masvidal then leaned down, pounded the canvas, and pretended to be knocked out while mocking Askren's stiffened body. That day, Ben Askren learned that sometimes in life, it's better to keep your head up.
You guys are welcome for ending that dude.
Next, we rewind to UFC 207, where Cody Garbrandt and Dominick Cruz fought for the title after weeks of trash talking.
The thing is, you're not smart enough to actually beg. You'll just do it with your eyes when I'm on top of you.
From the jump, Cody was moving as if he had downloaded Cruz's entire fight style off the dark web.
In the WEC. Look at this. Yeah.
Every time Dominick threw a punch, Cody dodged it with footwork so slick, you half expected him to start calling himself Cody Mayweather.
I mean, he stopped Takeya Mitsugaki in the first round in his rematch fight, swarmed.
While the fight didn't get the same buzz as the main event between Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey, it delivered in a big way. Cruz, who normally makes other fighters swing at air, got tagged by Cody more times than he probably did in his entire career up to that point. And Cody wasn't just satisfied with landing punches. He started dipping, dodging, and ducking in ways that even Cruz couldn't keep up with. At one point, Cruz missed wildly, and Cody just stood there, hitting a little dance routine that felt so polished, you'd think he rehearsed it at home with some music, mood lighting, and 3 costume changes. By the end of the fight, Dominick was ready to send Garbrandt a very strongly worded email as Cody cruised to a flawless victory. Next, we delve into a moment so savage, so utterly disrespectful, that it could only come from one man, Max Blessed Holloway. Because when you're blessed, you don't just fight your opponent, you school them. Let me take you back to UFC 231, December 8, 2018. The night Brian Ortega stepped into the octagon to face Holloway for the featherweight title. Ortega, a rising star, undefeated, looking like he just stepped off the cover of a jiu-jitsu magazine. But he didn't know what he was walking into. By the 4th round, the fight was already pretty one-sided. Ortega's face looked like an abstract painting, except instead of paint, it was, well, blood. But his willpower, still strong. His spirit, unbreakable. His boxing, let's just say it needed a little work. That's when Holloway, mid-beatdown, decides to teach Ortega how to block punches. Imagine getting hit in the face repeatedly by a guy, and then that same guy is like, bro, you're doing it all wrong. Hands up here. Protect your face, my guy. It's honestly generous. You don't see LeBron James stopping mid-dunk to give his defender a quick lesson on footwork. Overall, that fight was an absolute masterclass. One that should have come with a syllabus, office hours, and a follow-up quiz for Ortega. But when it comes to UFC bad boys, Jon Jones reigns supreme with his jaw-dropping skills inside the octagon, often overshadowed by his "what did he do now?" moments outside of it. If there's a rule, Jones has probably broken it. But if you're looking for a moment that really cemented his status as a villain inside the cage, look no further than UFC 182. Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier were in the midst of a heated rivalry that was hotter than a jalapeno's armpit.
I whooped your ass just now.
John, can you hear that, John?
You know things are serious when a press conference turns into a full-on brawl that causes Dana White's bald head to sweat more than usual. Let's fast forward to the fight, where Jones was well on his way to securing a decision win. With just a few seconds left in the final round, Jon raised his arms in victory. Naturally, Cormier let his guard down because, sportsmanship and all. The second Cormier relaxed, Jones peppered him with a few more punches for the ride home. Jon then caps the whole performance with the legendary D-Generation X crotch chop. Yes, the classic WWE taunt that screams, "Suck it!" The very thing every middle schooler from the 90s used to get suspended for doing in the hallway. Somewhere, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were sitting in their couches, tears of pride streaming down their faces, nodding in approval like, "Yeah, boy." Post-fight, Jones took it a step further in an interview saying he hoped Cormier is crying somewhere just to rub salt in the wound. At this point, even the salt was like, "Hey man, that's a bit much." In 2021, Don'Tale Mayes entered the octagon against Josh Parisian. The bout started off like any other heavyweight clash. Big swings, heavy breaths, and the occasional clinch that looked more like a slow dance at prom than a UFC fight. In the second round, Mayes chose a bold strategy, opting to fight with something a little lower than his fists. Mayes skillfully maneuvered Parisian into a north-south position, and with Parisian effectively immobilized, Mayes unleashed a flurry of, well, let's just call it a sack attack, delivered with the enthusiasm of someone trying to win a hula hoop contest without a hula hoop. 4 full-throttle shots, each one more flamboyant than the last. Even referee Herb Dean couldn't believe what he saw.
Herb Dean is like, "Bro, what the fuck?" Don'Tale's like, "Yeah, I know."
It was undoubtedly disrespectful. But the next moment takes things to a whole another level. The lead up to Adesanya versus Costa was filled with trash talk, marinated in testosterone and ego.
I will be waiting for Adesanya, the skinny claw Adesanya.
He's nothing. He's nothing. He's scared.
Wish your mom had one very similar.
Beautiful.
Shut the fuck up before I become your dad.
Inside the cage, the champ showed exactly why he was the king of the middleweight division by picking apart and finishing the previously undefeated Costa in the second round. Now, in most UFC fights, once a fighter gets the finish, they either jump on the cage, do a backflip, or scream passionately into the camera. Traditional stuff. But Adesanya, he had other ideas. Adesanya sat on Costa's defeated body and with the precision of a champion, delivered the most disrespectful finishing move since Mortal Kombat introduced fatalities. The double dry hump. It was like an alpha wolf claiming his territory. Sure, Costa might recover from the fight, but the memory of Adesanya's cheeky antics, those will follow him forever. Every time someone rewatches the fight, the humps will be there, thrusting their way into immortality.